Alrighty, so we are now on to the validation system here. So let's go ahead and get logged in. If you have an iPark account, I would always click no to save password because it's the two, since they have the beginning parts the same, it like whichever one you hit update is going to save for that one. So if I want to get back into iPark, it's going to have this password saved. So yeah. Actually, the dog's quiet now. Cool. Okay. So the first thing we got here is ticket validations. So this one is really easy. I just pulled a report to find the ticket. So 4859 is the ticket number. It actually has a little guide here on where to find it if you don't know what the ticket number is or anything like that. So 4859. The entry date should be today, and then 1632. Yeah, is the time. You don't have to put in all the extra stuff or the zeros before the ticket number. Click find, and honestly, the only thing you really need to make sure is the access group. All of White River, it's already set to White River, so you just click that and then add validation. Well, I guess you can do these, but it doesn't really matter. No, I take that back. Just for billing purposes, or say we want to track like IdleJorg or IMAX, even though they're not billed, I always do the generic 100% for White River. For the state, typically you're going to do IDOA, since we are kind of part of IDOA. The only time you would select one of the individual departments is if someone comes to you and it's like, hey, their validator is out or whatever. Like there are some departments that only have 1 to 2 validators, so it's possible they can't do it. There's other special circumstances, but typically you're gonna hit IDOA. So once that's all set, once you got your group set, if you need to change the validation for White River, go for it. Yeah, you just hit add validation. If you want to put a memo, you can. That's only going to show up in reports here, but typically we don't do that. So, but once you see this box here, you know that ticket is set. They just stick the ticket in and it raises the gate. For White River, you have the ability to do a $5 validation as well, so they'll be charged $5 on the way out. So if you want to delete the validation, just click on the X, boom. Now that person doesn't get a free out. So unless they used it, unless this ticket was used, in the minute I had this validated, and that's cool for them. They're really lucky, but yeah, now they can't get out for free. So the next thing we're moving on to are printed validations. Just be warned, this is really slow, probably because the amount of validations we've made, over the course of a few years, are still in here. Maybe that's slowing it down. I don't know, but yeah, just be patient with this. Yeah, if you aren't patient, you could run into what happened today, where we have like a bunch of extra validations in here that we shouldn't have. So yeah, once you get on the screen, see all the ones that we previously made. It's got the description and all that, creation date. You're gonna go to add barcodes, and just to make sure this goes fast, I'm only gonna make one, and we'll make a Safeway one, which we don't even use. But yeah, typically it's IdleJorg, IMAX, Indiana State Museum, IdleJorg, IMAX, State Museum, $5, and a generic 100%. This is the State Department of Health's validation for White River, seeing as how they're split between the state and there. So yeah, I think every now and then we have to use the State Museum $4, but that should be about it. None of these others. Well, NCAA, I believe. I think it's a center plate $5 one. It might work, but it had issues, so we stopped using it. But yeah, so IdleJorg, IMAX, State Museum, and generic 100% are the only ones you need to know for now. In the future, we will have NCAA free, NCAA $5, and same with center plate. So, yep. So say we're just going to use one that's not, going to screw up our, if we ever go back and look at any of these. After you got the validations set, we're going to do the start time, or start date and end date. We're just going to make it good for today. Why the heck not? So, But yeah, typically you're gonna make it through an entire month. So we can just do that now. We're gonna delete it anyway. So say yeah. So it's for like ISIM, yeah, IMAX, Avador, all that. You're gonna make it for the month. Every now and then you'll need them just only set for setting events. Just make sure once you set the date, set the time appropriately. Typically we make it good for like, if it's an all-day event, we'll make it to like 3 a.m. the next day. Just make sure every now and then when you're messing with the dates and stuff, sometimes it resets the time. I think we had one, it was saying like 10:1 to 10:1, but it's saying 12 a.m. to 12 a.m., which means it was only good at midnight, and that was it. So just be cautious of that. Next thing, choosing lots. Like I said, typically when we print out validations, it's for White River, so you usually don't have to mess with this. But yeah, it's either White River or all lots. So this will work with White River and all the state facility. Well, sort of. For the state, it'll only work in Bay 1, but but yeah, technically it is set for all of them now. So yeah, for our purpose, we're just gonna keep it a lot 12. Uses, this is the amount of times they can use it for different tickets. So say you give it 5 uses, you could technically be like, someone puts your ticket in, scans it, they get the discounted rate, next ticket comes, ticket in, scan it, discounts them up till 5. Typically 99.9% of the time it's going to be 1 use, 1 ticket, 1 validation, that's it. This use per transaction is kind of useless in a way. I mean, I guess we could find a way to use it down the road, but say you wanted to give, you emailed these validations or something to a bunch of people. It's just like, hey, you get 100 uses, it's going to discount it, $5 each, we'll bill you a quarter, whatever. So if you want to do uses per transaction, you do it that way, but that's 99.9% of the time, it's 1 and 1. Barcode format, you're going to want to leave it as QR. You can do linear. It seems like linear, it's easier for the people to like get it like correctly in there, but it doesn't always scan as well as a QR code. So yeah, I just leave it at that. We might mess with linear again here soon. But yeah, memo. That's a new feature they've added. I need to look at that and see what it does. Yeah, they've got new ways to set up some of the what it says on the validations too. So if you set up like a memo line, whatever you put in there, it might say it. So, but yeah, that's something we need to look at in the future. So, once you're done, you hit the add barcodes 1 and 1 time only. I know it's not doing anything, and the more validations you're making, the longer it's going to take. But you only hit that button once, or else say you start spamming the button, well, it's going to make all of those. Every time you hit the button, it's going to make that group. So yeah. So we're just going to sit here. It's probably going to be a second. I said it shouldn't be that long because we only made 1, but yeah, we'll see. Huh. That's weird. Maybe it's because the Safeway validation might not be in there. I believe Centerplate is, so. This is quite odd. Maybe we're having issues with it. There are times when you go to validations and it'll give you like a runtime error, and then you'll have to get with Joe Starry to reset it. He knows what to do now, but basically it's like reset the OLB tables somewhere. Okay, well, that's not good. Maybe they do kind of broke it a little bit, but let's pretend it worked. Let's pretend we made 500 IMAX. They were good all next month. So, yep, it's going to bring up the newest one here. You're just going to click on the print button. Like I said, only hit that print button once. Now, it's not going to cause issues like when you're creating the barcodes, but yeah, just hit the print button once. It's going to bring up another page. Then you just hit print from there. So, and that's that. Next one is flex passes. For this one, it's a little different validations, even though they look similar. So what you're going to want to do is, I can't remember if you have to actually set that or not. Let's see here. Nope, you don't. So you just go to create passes. From here, you do need a batch description. So I'll just put in test. We'll make it for IDOA. I said only use WRSP or IDOA unless you have some weird reason to need these, which you shouldn't. But and you could do the no end date, but I think after like 6 months to a year, it just breaks and it doesn't work anymore. Maybe it's fixed now, but I remember I made one for testing purpose, and I think it was like 6 months later I tried it and it didn't work. So, but yeah, but typically you never want to put no end date. So, yep. Worst case scenario, just make it good for a year or something in case it does work forever. You don't want to forever pass. Just hang, they're just chilling out there. Next thing is uses. So typically, if we don't want a bunch of people abusing them, especially for like large groups or groups we don't really know what they're gonna do, we're gonna make sure like they only get 2 uses. So 1 to scan in, 1 to scan out. Other groups, for like White River, like their cleaning crew or their maintenance or whoever, we're gonna give them unlimited, because they could need to come in however many times a day, just get their work done. But for this one, we're gonna go limited, so 2 uses, 1 in, 1 out. Anti-pacific is affected by these, so always keep that in mind. And then in-out status, so you could set it to where they have to use them coming in. So say you set it to out, they have to use it to come in order to use it to get out. But typically, people that don't know how to use them, they're not sure what to do and end up grabbing tickets, and we don't want to make it to where if they grab a ticket, they can't get out. So yeah, so yep, I just leave that at neutral, and then from there we're going to click add pass. And from here, you gotta put a first name in, gotta put a last name in. If you want an email, if you want to email them, you'll put an email address. If you want to print them, just go to print, and this is where you add how many you want. So we're just gonna print 1. So once that's done, you'll see them down here. You're just gonna hit create, and then from the create screen, you're gonna see all the validations, or flex passes. Now we only got 1, so we only got 1 on here. Yeah, and this is similar to the page the validations will look like as well. So you'll have the validate times, first name, last name. Yep. And then if you want to add more stuff to this, that should be the next thing. So if you want to click print, you just click print here, but obviously I don't want to put that. Same thing as before. You can just delete them like so. If like with validations, like say you accidentally print off an extra 500 and you don't want someone to use those, you can literally delete that whole batch. So yeah. All right, and now we go to reports. It's kind of self-explanatory. The entry dates of ticket validations, so it's going off the ticket entry time. You can also go by the creation date, so when someone actually went in and validated that ticket, you can use that. Same with barcode validations or validations, and then flex passes as well. Say we want to pull a report of everyone through the first. This is what it's going to tell you. It doesn't have a summary page like iPark does. So if you want to know like a total amount for like a large time span, you don't really want to use this unless you really want to add them all up. And I do want to, I think it is 20 per page, so you could add that up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, so I guess you could do it that way, but if you need something like show someone, hey, this is the numbers instead of making them add it all up, yeah, you use iPark. So yeah, like I said, this is kind of useful if you really want to see who's making these, like that ticket I validated earlier. Hey, look, there I am. And then yeah, like I said, you can see. Is it not showing? Okay, yeah. So another reason why you don't really want to use report is if someone else is using generic 100%, it should be ISM, and I know these are members, so I know it is, but others, if we do expand, who use some of these reports, you don't really know who it is, so, or at least which department or agency. But yeah, this one should be like State Museum, and then actually I deleted these. That's weird, but anyway, you can go in here and actually yeah, see who did the validations, which is nice. So if you're ever trying to see who did a certain validation, yeah, this is where you want to go. So same with normal validations, or these should just be ours. Let's see, actually. This might be pulling quite a bit. Yep. Yeah, these should just be hours. Yeah. Can I make some? Yeah. But yeah, this should just be us unless someone actually buys a validation printer. So, and then FlexPath, same thing. Yeah, I said for most reports, you're gonna want to use iPark. Setting it up, people. So let's. You shouldn't have to mess with these. Yeah, I wouldn't mess with these unless you really want to make a custom validation. At the same time, though, what you make doesn't translate to the system. There's something we don't have that updates iPark or Opus to know that's an actual validation. So that's something unless we get an update or the last update fix that. Until then, we have to go through Evan's time to create new validations. So don't need that. Yeah, same thing for here. Yeah, don't need to mess with that. I just have to go through Evan's time, but yeah. This is where you create the individual validations. So the others with the groups. Yeah. Here we go. This is what you guys might have to do. So this is where you set up accounts. So you're gonna click add user. So test, I think there's already a test in there. So test 1. The password doesn't have to be anything. It can be entirely what you want. It doesn't have to have an uppercase letter or number or something or whatever. So yeah, we'll go here. And then I'll put my other in here. Make sure it defaults to supervisor. You want user unless you want someone to set up for other people. And I said the only place we have that is at the State Museum in Idle, Jordan. That way we aren't, that way they're fully control on who validates, but at the same time it's only set up for their validation. So basically someone went crazy and validated a bunch of tickets when they weren't supposed to, we could at least bill for it and we're not losing money. So yeah. Yep. So username and all these, it's first letter of the first name and then their last name, pretty much all lowercase. There might be a few exceptions in there, but yep. And then make sure you put email address both times. This is with the new update that kind of broke it. But yeah. So role as user, ePark validate, which is the ticket validations. No one else should have these other two. It should just only be ePark val. Okay. And then printer type doesn't matter, and then ePark group. Typically, like I said, we're set up for state agencies. So say this person works at the, I guess we'll go IDOA, but nope. IDOA, I said. Yep. So make sure that's set up. Make sure their emails, they match both here, and make sure they're the correct state email. Make sure it's their first name or last name spelled, or first letter, first name, and their last name spelled correctly. And then after that, you just hit save. And then down the bottom, it's in alphabetical order. Test 1. There's a few other things here. We used to be able to send email. This button right here would reset their password. So it'd email them directly. They do it all themselves. But now since the update that broke, so basically what I've been doing is changing their password to 123, 123, save, and then telling them to use that to log in, and then they can go in and change their own password. So one other thing is this email, user email. Let's say I go to Terrell on here. I couldn't. He didn't even email. Let's go. But as you can see, so if Terrell had an email in here prior, it would have his actual email here. But then my last updated email for user email, it's gonna have mine in there. And whenever you go to save anything, they have to match. So every time you go to a different person, you're gonna have to make sure you update this email. So, or else it won't let you do anything. But yeah, one other thing we need to do in here is this active button. So we needed Terrell's terminated. I don't even think he knows how to validate, so it's not really hurting anything. But yeah, so we need to deactivate him, but we don't want to delete him because I think that deletes any reports, although he shouldn't have any anyway. But it's good practice. We're going to leave them in the system, but we're going to make it to where they're not active anymore. Just by checking that. Like I said, these emails have to match, and you just hit save user, and voila. And you'll see this check mark is now gone. That means that account is no longer usable. So I will delete this test too. Yeah, see, this is why you can't delete them. It deletes all their history, but obviously I haven't done anything on this one. So yeah, and it's gone. So yeah, you'll see quite a few. Like I said, all these are still in the system. They just can't log in because they're not active anymore. One other thing. Let me go to made the test and admin. Let's do this. We'll go user, Park and Val. Man, this really is broken. Do I have to save it first? And then I can go in and change the validation. Yeah, I said. Okay, well, we can do it this way too. Or maybe it's just only when setting up it has you do that, but here's how you actually manually go in and change validations. So you have to scroll through and make sure you got the right group. Yada, yada, yada. So it's got ISM on here. I guess that was what I was testing last. So, Easy Park, that's either for ParkWiz or something new. So, but yep, that's about it. Like I said, I got to make this part clear. Make sure the user email and email address are the same, and the correct email, obviously. And then the send email, or let me finish. These need to be the same in order for you to save anything or create anything. The send email button is broken. It doesn't work. So whenever someone needs to reset their password, just put in 1, 2, 3, both boxes here. Save user, exit, and then I just say go setup and my profile. So setup, my profile, change password, boom. They're gonna use that 1, 2, 3, and then they make their own password. Printer type, I shouldn't have messed with anything there. So, yep. The last thing is this customize barcodes. We kind of have it set up to where we want right now, but yeah, our so this is our validations. We just want to say valid from valid to group name, validation name. You can do uses per transaction, but should be self-explanatory. We don't really need any of that. We probably could use having the barcode number on there. We could actually change the font. Ooh, that's something I need to play with when I get back in. But yeah, right now that's all it needs. Flex passes. The optional message is on here too. So that memo or whatever that we saw, yeah, we could put that and customize that. So, but yep, that's about it. Like I said, validations, flex passes, ticket validation, all that. It's pretty simple stuff. So, yep, that's it.